trillions upon trillions of morphological changes.
Don't you just hate those creationist videos that claim how evolution defies the odds? In reality, the numbers game used by creationists is of no relevance and is an argument from desperation. Okay, if you start with the first replicating cell, then the odds of evolution producing such a species as modern man are indeed trillions to one. So how come we are here, against all the odds? Simple really. Humans were not planned, nor a specific target of evolution, nor even necessarily the pinnacle of evolution. Evolution just does not set targets. We, and every other species, are merely the accumulation of many stages of evolution along a specific lineage or branch that managed to survive. Had our branch, or any of its parent branches, had come to a halt, or even taken a different direction, then other species would have taken our place. But nevertheless, there still would have been speciation. Now I know that no creationist is going to accept that, so let's look at some analogies to help them. Are you ready?
Trillions upon trillions.
Obviously not, but I'll continue anyway. It's all a bit like the odds of any one person existing because their parents were in the right place at the right time and consummated their partnership at the right time. If the parents had never met, then that person would not be here, but the parents would have met other spouses, and other, now never to be born, offspring would have existed instead. Think of all the unrelated and random circumstances that led up to your own parents having that chance first meeting. For instance, in my case, and this is only a fraction of the story, my grandfather for the first and only time got drunk, lost his job and was forced to go back to his hometown, taking his family, including my mum, as a very young girl with him. Meanwhile, much later on, my dad was sent to that town, one of many possibilities, to manage a shop. He was introduced to my mum on a blind date by his work colleague, who was dating my mum's younger sister at the time. You get the idea. So, adding up all the tiny incidents, the odds of any one person being born is probably
Trillions upon trillions
to 1 against. But had my parents never met, the odds of somebody being born to at least one of them, with other partners, were fairly nailed on as definite. So it is with evolution. Who knows what course it would have taken if the dinosaurs had not been wiped out? The possible outcomes are so vast that we could only speculate. Let's look at it another way. The current world population is over 6 billion and rising. The odds of anyone else, past or present, looking exactly like me is virtually zero. I'm not a twin. Even my sister, although sharing some inherited traits from our bloodline, looks nothing like me. I'm trying to work out which one of us is the lucky one. If there is somebody out there who is identical to me, then not only will I eat my hat, but I will become a creationist. Mind you, I must admit, some do come pretty damn close. The odds of anyone being an exact duplicate of myself is virtually zero, and yet here I am, posting on YouTube. You still there, Neff?
Trillions upon trillions.
Take another example. Look at this stone. Consider its location on the beach, the shape and orientation. What are the odds of it being in this exact position, on that beach, having been eroded to that exact shape, with those two holes being in exactly those locations within the stone, and at that precise moment in all of time, when I was there to observe and photograph it, before the next tide moved it into some other place and position? Trillions to 1? Nowhere near, I should guess. And yet there it is. That stone definitely exists. Incidentally, for your information, those holes have been caused by a bivalve known as the piddock. Or how about this? Look at this stick being broken. What a brute of a man. It was nailed on that I would break the stick. I'd had 2 Weetabix for breakfast. But could I have forecast the exact shape of the fracture? No way. And no matter how many sticks I break, the fracture is virtually unique. But that didn't stop me from breaking the stick. By the way, apologies to the ladies out there for tantalizing you with that flash of my thigh. Talking of ladies, how you doing, Neff, with your escorts?
Trillions upon trillions.
Perhaps we can consider a pack of sugar thrown into a pile. There's approximately 8 million grains in a pound. Consider the position, orientation, and relation of each grain to all adjacent grains, which also determine the shape of the pile and its exact surface area. The chances of getting any one predetermined configuration is nigh on impossible. Trillions? No way. We're talking Google flexes here. However, you're still left with a pile of sugar, with practically a unique configuration giving the appearance of order and of having been fine-tuned, especially icing sugar, when obviously it hasn't been. And don't forget that no matter how many times you make a pile from your bag of sugar, it is always subject to exactly the same laws of physics. So, the odds of getting a predetermined configuration? Practically zilch. The odds of repeating the same configuration over nigh on infinite throws? Practically zilch. The odds of having a configuration with each pile? 100%. Okay, I know. I can hear all you creationists out there. Yeah, but it is still always going to be a pile of sugar. That's true, but the purpose of this video is to demonstrate the madness of your numbers game. After all, I could say this with different organisms. Yeah, but the end result is still an organism comprised of very similar cells as building blocks in different numbers and locations. Each pile of sugar will have a different shape and structure, just as each organism has different morphology. Yet we know that evolution is an ongoing process of inheritance, rather than random throws of piles of sugar. So, creationists, it looks like your
Trillions upon trillions.
is nothing but a pile of sugar. Well, I think I've really over-laboured the point. So what have we learned? The misleading claims of evolution requiring
Trillions upon trillions.
to one. Yeah, he's still going. Is totally irrelevant because if one event does not occur, then another will. And we can also extend this to the universe itself, where all within it adapts to its laws. Dear creationists, if you think the universe is fine-tuned, then you must surely know what a non-fine-tuned universe is like, in order to make a comparison. So let's hear from some of you of an example of a non-fine-tuned universe. If you fail to do this, then you're in no position to define anything as fine-tuned. I, on the other hand, I can have a good stab at what a designed organism would be like, but that's another video. In evolution, there is no planned target species, including us, and evolution goes where natural selection and genetic drift take it, i.e. on an unknown and unknowable path. We can't even predict the natural disasters that will have such a significant impact upon natural selection, and we certainly can't predict what mutations will take place for those forces to act upon. So only if mankind was ever a specific target for evolution could you play the
Trillions upon trillions
card. What we do know, as so comprehensively backed up by the fossil record, is that speciation will subtly take place, but for the vast majority of organisms, a human lifespan is chronically insufficient to witness this directly, and we certainly cannot predict the journey of any lineage that is allowed to develop naturally. However, our friends the creationists are in a much better position because they claim that no new information can ever be added to a genome, in which case they should be able to look at the existing information and predict what microevolution will occur. But who am I kidding? What's the odds against a creationist going into a lab to make a scientific study? I think I know a man with the answer.
Trillions upon trillions upon trillions upon trillions upon trillions. Trillions.
And damned right.